It's the Daily Doug.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Daily Doug. Thanks for being with me today. My friends, on this particular episode, we are finally getting back to some Rush. I have been planning for several weeks to get back to music from this band, and twice my plans got upended and I had to do something else. So I decided, Doug, we're doing it. On Wednesday, we're doing side one of Hold Your Fire, and on Friday, we're doing side two. I'm going to make it a Rush week, and you are welcome to be here. Thank you for being here. We've got side one of Hold Your Fire today, and I'm really excited to dive into this album. It's one that I do not know much about. We've been going through the Rush discography in chronological order for the past few years. And last year we got up to Power Windows, which I really enjoyed. That came out in 1985. But as I looked, it was last May that we listened to Power Windows. So it has been too long since we listened to a Rush album. I am happy to get to the next album after Power Windows. It's 1987 and it's Hold Your Fire. So the band had taken a little bit of a break after they did their Power Windows tour. And then Neil began doing his writing. He's doing some lyric stuff, and Time Stands Still was the first lyric that he wrote for the songs that would end up being on this album. And at the time, he was interested in working with the theme of time for the album in a similar manner that he had worked with the theme of power in the previous album. But his theme quickly kind of morphed, sort of organically, into that of human instinct instead of time. And the album title, Hold Your Fire, came from that point of view of dealing with sort of the primal instincts, the things about the human experience that all make us the same. And yeah, be slow to anger, hold your fire, friends. So I'm going to hold my fire and my opinions of what I'm going to hear until after I hear it. But I need to really get to it. The only other thing that I want to say in my read in, I found it quite a neat little nugget of information. The timing of this is really quite interesting. It's the late 80s, and I read that between these two albums, as they were taking a little bit of a break and then getting ready to record, they got a Macintosh, a brand new Macintosh computer, and they began exploring Digital Performer and some of the other bells and whistles that they could do with the computer. You know, I'm going back in my brain. I think it wasn't 87, but I think it was 89 or 90 that my family ended up getting a computer. I think it was an Apple II GS. I think that was the first computer that our family actually got. And I remember it was like magic. What is this machine? Amazing, right? So the sequencing, the digital audio workstation kind of gets its very beginnings here, and they're on the vanguard of it, and they're kind of tinkering with it, and I think that's really cool. So today we've got side one. Like I said, side two is coming up on Friday's episode. But for today, we've got 5 songs: Force 10, Time Stands Still, Open Secrets, Second Nature, and Prime Mover. And I've only heard Time Stands Still previously, and that was about a year ago. And I only heard it the one time. So I'll be eager to hear it again, and I'm eager to hear the rest of these for the first time. So let's get to it, friends. Geddy Lee is on bass guitar, synthesizer, and vocals. Alex Lifeson is on electric and acoustic guitars. Neil Peart is on drums and percussion. And as usual, all of the music is composed by Geddy and Alex, and all of our lyrics are composed by Neil, except for the first track. So let's get to that. Force 10. This was the last song that was added to the album. They composed it in just a few hours on their last day of pre-production before they started to record. And Pi Dubois, who had worked with the band on Tom Sawyer, had sent Neil some lyrics, and Neil made use of them here, and he provided some extra lyrics to finish out the song as well. So let's get to it, friends. We start out with the song called Force 10, and of course, we're listening to Rush. Here we go. Okay. That's subtonic. Cool. Kind of all over an A minor sound. Or is it A major? Now it's A major. To the F sharp. To the E. Listen to the bass. I'm trying to figure out what they just did. They land back in A minor. Okay, so this reminds me of what we heard at the beginning. Tough times demand tough talk. And then it moves into an A major progression. Major 1. 6. F sharp minor. Or is it F sharp major? That's really cool. Look out for the force without form. Look around at the sight and sound. Look in. So the chorus is in A minor. Come on, Neil. Yeah. I wanted a longer instrumental break. Out to the sea and the sky, around at the sight and the sound. Pay attention, he's saying. Tough times demand tough hearts, as well as tough talk. Is that how you ended it? What? So, why? Why put the drums like that at the end if you're not going to go into like an instrumental outro? Or maybe it just segues directly into the next song and I stopped it and I stopped the progress. Well, we'll get to Time Stands Still. I need to talk about this for just a quick second though. What I heard was a really neat combination harmonically of different key areas and different scale patterns that they can use. So A minor turns to A major. Okay, we can keep the tonic, but we just switch the scale, right? And with A major, it can go into a different type of progression. And we ended up moving from A major to F sharp minor, which is its 6. Now, F sharp is not in A minor's key, but it's in A major's key. And then once we get to F sharp, where I'm expecting, they're going to go to F sharp minor, the relative minor. But no, they went to F sharp major and did kind of a similar progression that they did on A from a major key. And once they got down to the 4, which is B, and then they just kind of shifted down to A and resolved to A and made it minor again to get them back to where they started. That's what I think I heard. Harmonically. Really, really cool. Using really 3 different keys, A minor, A major, and F sharp major throughout the piece. And he basically starts off with, and I thought it was kind of a chorus. Maybe there's like 2 little choruses in this. Tough times demand tough talk, demand tough hearts, demand tough songs. He's like, you're going to hear from me because times are tough and this is what we are called to do. I'm going to be saying some stuff. We can rise and fall like empires, flow in and out like the tide, be vain and smart, humble and dumb. We can hit and miss like pride. We can circle around like hurricanes, dance and dream like lovers, attack the day like birds of prey or scavengers under cover. We can do all of that, but we have to stay grounded, I think. Look to the eye of the storm. Look for the center. Look for the crux of the issue. Look out for the force without form. Be aware. Look around at the sight and the sound. Look in, look out, look around. Just pay attention, damn it. And be accountable. Be a human, right? Really, really cool. So I want to keep going to Time Stands Still. This is the lead single from the album, and this is the one that I heard previously on our fan favorites about a year ago, and I do remember the video. The guys had their late 80s hair going on, and I thought that was pretty fun. I should mention Amy Mann is an American singer-songwriter, and she provides co-vocals on this particular tune. And as we remember, this is the first one that Neil was writing lyrically. So let's see what he was really starting from with Time Stand Still. Here we go.
Catch my breath before I start off again.
That's 1. That's 5. 4. Major key. 5. 6. 4. E major. Not looking back, I want to look around me now. Similar ideas before.
sensation a little bit stronger. Experience
Flat 7
slips away.
to 1.
Experience slips away.
Ah,
Time stands still. I turn my face
up to the relative minor. Verse 2.
Close my eyes, let my defenses down. All those wounds that I can't get unwound. I let my past go
Too fast.
No time to pause. If I could slow it all down, like some captain, the ship runs aground. I could wait until the tide comes around.
Love Getty Space.
I'm not looking back, but I want to look around me now. See more of the people and the places that surround
Really
me
lovely
now.
combination of classic Rush sound and the synthesizer era. And I love this chorus.
Making sensation a little bit stronger.
Live in the moment. Make each impression a little bit stronger. Freeze this motion a little bit longer. Live in this special time.
The innocence slips away. The innocence slips away.
So it moves back to 5, from, and then they move to the C sharp. So 7. Beautiful guitar work from Alex. Back into 4.
Not looking back, but I want to look around me now. See more of the people and the places that surround me now. Time stands still.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Summer's going fast, night's growing colder. Children growing up, old friends growing older.
And
Freeze
this
this
moment
moment a little bit longer. Make each sensation
make time stand still. Make a memory.
Experience slips away.
There's just something so
Experience slips away.
endearing and uplifting
The
and just
innocence slips
human about Neil's lyrics. It's so good. Isn't it? I mean, the music is Rush. The music is great, but the message that we get from Neil, especially in this era, is connected to the world and connected to the human experience, but not, and provocative, but not hurtful. He's not throwing bombs. He's not trying to say, you're this or you're that. He's just saying, we need to do this. This is what I think we need to do. Summer's going fast, nights are growing colder, children growing up, old friends growing older. Freeze this moment a little bit longer. Live in the moment. You recognize this is a special time. This is a special moment. Make a fucking memory. Remember it. Make that time stand still. We can do that with our brains. I'm not looking back, but I want to look around me now, see more of the people and the places that surround me now. I want to experience it. I love it. I love it. It was good to hear that one again. So the next song is called Open Secrets. I believe that Amy is going to be back to sing some backing vocals on this one. And here Neil is just talking about miscommunication, really, especially in a relationship. And we get one of the people in this relationship, or maybe both of them, just kind of hiding, not sharing what their actual feelings are with their person. And we get miscommunication. The other person knows. They live with them, right? They're like, I can see, I understand what you're feeling. You're not telling me. I don't know why, and why aren't you telling me? And there's just all of this openness. They all know the secret's out in the open, but they're just not talking about it. That's what I think when I read the lyrics. But of course, I need to hear the song. So let's do that, shall we? Open Secrets from Rush. Here we go.
It went right by me. At the time it went over my head. I was looking out the window. I should have looked at your face instead. It went right by me. Just another wall.
Always enjoy the melodic contours that Geddy gets in his bass lines. They're always interesting to listen to.
I never meant what you're thinking. That's not what I meant at all.
There should have been a moment when we let our barriers fall. I never meant what you are thinking. That's not what I meant at all. It's
Some
communication.
of them burned on our ceilings. Some of them learned as a child. The things that we're concealing will never let us grow. Time will do its healing.
Time will do its healing.
You got to let it go.
So again, we're focusing on a little bit of time.
Close for my protection. Open to your scorn.
But we're also focusing on interpersonal relationships, the thing that makes us all the same.
I lie awake with my secrets spinning round my head. Something that somehow escaped me. Something you shouldn't have said. I was looking out the window. I should have looked at your face instead. Well, I guess we all have these feelings. You can't leave unreconciled. Some of them burned on our ceilings. Some of them learned as a child. The things that we're concealing will never let us grow. Time will do its healing. You've got to let it go. Let it go.
I like the sense here. Beautiful harmonic backing.
Find no absolution in my rational point of view. Maybe some things are
6.
instinctive, but there's one thing you could do. You could try to understand me. I could try to understand you. You could try to understand me. I could try to understand you.
back into this halftime groove.
Well, I guess we all have these feelings, can't leave unreconciled. Some of them burn out our ceilings, some of them learn as a child.
The things that we're concealing will never let us grow. You gotta let it go. You gotta say it. You gotta communicate. Speak your truth. We're into kind of an outro here. It's a solid tune. It's not really flashy, but I really liked it. Nice groove, easy to listen to. Nice album cut, really. Great solo from Alex in there. The percussion, as always, we get really great grooves, and then you get kind of spaciousness from Neil with the way that he kind of orchestrates the percussion section, which is just him. And it's always just lovely to hear their music, especially for the first time, right? We all have these feelings we can't leave unreconciled. I almost said recoiled. We can't leave unreconciled. Some of them burned on our ceiling. Some of them learned as a child. The things that we're concealing will never let us grow. Time will do its healing. You've got to let it go. I think he's talking about people who, like I said at the beginning, they're just looking past each other. The first verse, he's like, are you paying attention? It went right by me. At the time it went over my head, I was just looking out the window. I should have looked at your face instead. It went right by me, just another wall. There should have been a moment when we let our barriers fall. I never meant what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. That's the open secret, right? That's not what I meant at all. Well, say it then. Concentrate, think about what you want to say, about what you really feel, and make sure you communicate it. If there's anything I've learned being married to a wonderful woman for almost 25 years now, daily communication, openness, vulnerability, trust. And that's really what it's about. Talk. It's what we have as humans. We have our language. Use it. Yeah. Wonderful. Next up is a song called Second Nature. And here, Neil is speaking directly to people in positions of authority, in positions of power, and he's calling them out, quite frankly. I think specifically in this context for their collective lack of action on environmental issues, saying that they should have already done it because, of course, it should have been second nature as a human to want to do something about this problem before it gets too much worse, just because you're empathetic and you care about not only your environment, but the environment that you share with all of the other people and creation on the planet. You know, it's, if you can do something about it, it should be second nature to just want to do it. You should not have to be cajoled and badgered by the rest of us just to do something. That's where I think he's coming from here. So again, back to those primal things, second nature, instinct, right? What it means to be just living out the human experience. That's where I think he's going here. So let's listen to it. Second nature, and it's from Rush. Here we go.
A memo to a higher office.
It's 4-1
Letter to
in a
the
major
powers
key.
that be.
4-1.
To a god, a king, a head of state, a captain of industry.
In a major
To
key.
the movers and the shakers, can't everybody see? It ought to be second nature.
It ought to be second
I know
nature.
the places where we live. Let's talk about this sensibly. We're not insensitive. I know progress has no patience,
I like this.
but
A little
something's
slower.
got to give. I know you're different, you know I'm the same.
Not slower, softer, at least to start.
Taking the blame. I'd like some changes, but you don't have the time. We can't go on thinking it's the victim's crime.
No one is blameless.
But we're all without shame. We fight the fire
We fight the fire
while we're feeding the
while we're
flame.
feeding the flames.
Folks have got to make choices,
Bill's lyrics.
and choices got to have voices. Folks are basically decent, conventional.
Kind of 4-1 over the 4.
Well, we read about
I
the
think we're in F sharp.
exceptions in the papers every day. It ought to be second nature. At least that's what I feel. Now I lay me down in dreamland. I know perfect's not for real. I thought we might get closer.
Reminds me of John Lennon's Imagine. You may say I'm a dreamer.
Today is different and tomorrow the same. It's hard to take the world the way that it came. Too many rapids keep us sweeping along. Too many captains keep on steering us wrong. It's hard to take the heat. It's hard to lay blame.
When did
Fight
we
the fire
when did we change keys?
while we're feeding the flame.
That got right past me. Now we're back. Have to listen to it again. Yeah, they're back where they originally were.
It ought to be second nature.
Oh, I was expecting a big guitar solo to come in there, not the chorus again.
Now I lay me down and dreamland. I know perfect's not for real. I thought we might get closer.
It ought to be second nature, at least that's what I feel. Now I lay me down in dreamland. I know perfect's not for real. I thought we might get closer. I think we've gotten further away, Neil. It's another solid tune. It's not one of their flashier pieces. I understand why, after all the Rush that we've heard, uh, and that I've heard, anecdotally around, I haven't heard any of these album tracks before from this album, and it makes sense. It's not their flashier, more well-known tunes, but it's a sturdy album track. It really is. I didn't mind it at all. And when you pause to really listen to what Neil is writing about and what Geddy is singing about, it makes you think. It's thinking man's rock and roll, Today is different and tomorrow the same. It's hard to take the world the way that it came. Too many rapids keep us sweeping along. Too many captains keep on steering us wrong. It's hard to take the heat. It's hard to lay blame, to fight the fire when we're feeding the flames. It's so brilliant, friends. The people around the world that have the ability and the power to elect their own leaders, we've been electing leaders that haven't done what they need to do still, and it's hard to lay blame, to fight the fire when we're feeding the flames with too many captains that are intent on steering us wrong or enriching themselves or yada, 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 yada. Too often, the people that should be the best leaders of a people are not the people that have the personality to seek that power out, because it's not quite what their personality is. It's not what drives them. Authority isn't what drives them. Truth is what drives them. Empathy, shared experience is what drives them. And in their wake, we get, power hungry folks that want to enrich themselves, saying the right stuff to get elected or to get that power. And it's same old, right? Even all these years later. Fascinating tune, friends. I want to move on to Prime Mover. I believe, this is the last one on this side. I've really enjoyed this side, y'all. And so Prime Mover, again, this is about those primal longings, the elements of human experience that we all have in common, that we all share, and how we harness them, how we make use of them, how we incorporate them into our daily lives. Let's finish out side one. I am eager to hear this. It is Prime Mover, and it's from Rush. Here we go. Another major sounding piece. It's one of the main differences I hear between rock and roll and metal. Metal's hardly ever in a major key, but rock often is.
Basic elemental.
Then they go into relative for the verse.
Stirs the higher passions, thrill to be alive. Alternating currents in a typhoid surge. Rational resistance to an unwise urge. Anything can happen from the point of conception
Chorus.
to the moment of truth. At the point of surrender to the burden of proof. From the point of ignition to the final drive. Point of the journey is not to arrive.
Point of the journey is not to.
Anything can happen
Lovely transition.
Filters on our eyes, alter our perceptions. Lenses polarize, alternating currents. Force a show of hands, rational responses.
Rational responses.
Force a change of plans.
Force a change of plans. No shit, Neil.
Anything can happen. From a point of
Anything can happen. Anything will happen. It's like Murphy's Law, right?
the point of the needle, moving back and forth. From the point of entry until the candles burn. The point of departure
To return.
is not to return. Anything can happen.
It's always a positive, intellectual, musical experience listening to this band.
I set the wheels in motion. Turn off all the machines.
Turn them up, baby.
Activate the programs. I'm on behind the scenes. I set the clouds in motion. Turn out light and sound. Activate the window. Watch the world go round. From the point of conception to the moment of truth.
A little breakdown here for the
At
chorus.
the point of surrender to the burden of proof.
I like it.
From the point of ignition to the final drive. The point of the journey
It's not too right.
is not to arrive. Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Geddy Lee's on the bass. These last three songs, I all think of them the same way. Really solid tunes. Not their flashiest work, but I really enjoy listening to this. Just great songs. That has a point. That has a reason for existing. You know, it's not a fluff tune. If we're gonna write a song, let's say something. It's an enjoyable side of an album. You know, more enjoyable than I expected, quite frankly. I didn't know what I really expected because the reception of this album by fans and by critics alike, from what I read, was, and still is, quite mixed. I saw one reviewer say that it was the best of this 80s era for the band, and another reviewer said it was uninteresting and misguided. Tell us what you really feel. It peaked at number 13 on the album chart, a worthy achievement, right? But it was the first non-top 10 Rush album on the album charts in a decade, since Hemispheres in 78. So it wasn't as big of a hit as a lot of their other stuff. But those songs were wonderful, friends. Prime mover. From the point of conception to the moment of truth, at the point of surrender to the burden of proof, From the point of ignition to the final drive, the point of the journey is not to arrive. Again, he's as a motorcycle enthusiast and a person who loves to travel and get out on the open road, the point of ignition, the final drive, the journey, all of that, he's bringing in this language, metaphorical language that really just lands perfectly. I've heard several songs, even concept albums, on similar topics, on how the point of our life is to enjoy the journey, not to try to force any sort of arrival. As soon as we've arrived somewhere and we're done, then we're done, right? That's when we arrive. When the journey in this realm is no longer active. But the point is to keep going. The point is to get up every day and to keep going. The point of the journey is not to arrive. Anything can happen. I set the wheels in motion, turn up all the machines, activate the programs, and run behind the scenes. I set the clouds in motion, turn up light and sound, activate the window, and watch the world go round. I wonder if he's talking about his new Macintosh computer a little bit there. He's got the clouds in motion. He's activate the window, activate the programs, turn up all the machines. It fits both as basic language and as the metaphor that I think he means it to be. The point of a journey is not to arrive, but to take the journey, to enjoy the journey. I love it. I love it. And I said this during one of the songs. I think it was this last one. It's one of the reasons why I love coming back to Rush and why I keep coming back to this band. I've never had a bad experience, a letdown listening to this band. It's always a positive experience. It's always a positive musical experience, and it's always a positive intellectual experience. Whether I'm letting my rational brain go and going to sci-fi with these guys and into some fantasy, or whether I'm really looking deep at the psychological human experiences that Neil is talking about and the world that he's talking about in his lyrics. It's always a wonderful, wonderful experience. And so I'm very much looking forward to Friday, friends, when we do our next episode. And I'm going to be getting to side 2 of this album. And as I look at side 2, I do not see any other familiar titles. We've got Lock and Key, Mission, Turn the Page, Tai Shan, Shan, and then High Water. I don't know. I don't think I've heard any of those tunes. So we'll get to side 2 on Friday as we wrap up our entire album review of Hold Your Fire. But for today, my friends, I believe that is going to be all for me. I thank you very much for being with me, and we will see you Friday for side 2. But for today, I thank you very much, and we will see you next time on another edition of the Daily Doug.